Okay, hold on one sec. I'll get the link to this. And then go to, here we go. I didn't even think about this. Okay. There we go. There we go. 1 second. Okay, we're set. So, good morning. This is Simon with TRADEnPERFORM Coaching. Just if you'll take a moment to read that legal disclaimer, basically, past performance is not indicative of future results. The most important thing there, you can lose a lot of money trading futures. Make sure you have a process, right, that enables you to make money instead of losing money, right? Control your risk. Tilt is not okay, right? And consult your registered financial advisor and your risk trading plan before ever investing or trading any financial instrument. If you would like to get a hold of me, this is how you do so. Or if you'd like to ask for a 5-day pass, wrong one, TRADEnPerform@gmail.com. No fancy marketing. That's it. Okay, cool. So, start of a new week, right? You, a couple of things that I want to start off the week with. Remember, so first of all, Monday is generally the narrowest range day. You know, as I'm kind of treading my way through this whole process, I find myself having to think about my trades all weekend long, about how I want to do certain things. Then I'm the most anxious coming in on Monday morning, which is not great, right? So I go through and go, well, what are the steps that I took last week that'll help me make money? So the first thing is I have a profile of what my stops look for. And there's someone in the room who asked me, you know, in this March to a million, you know, I'm recommending or suggesting at least the 100K, the 2 contracts per trade, right? But if you relax through this, I'm talking to my team members, right? If you relax through this, look how many days you're up, $300 to $600, or usually more through the course of the day, right? When we turn our focus to the stop, so the whole idea for me behind those Apex accounts is, first of all, they're cheap. It's cheap risk to take, to put on, right? And there's multiple strategies that you can employ to execute those trades. But if you look at the way that those are structured, the idea is to remove the fear of the stop, not increase the fear of the stop, right? So I may look at it completely wrong. I'll grant you that. But I look at it as, hey, you know, I put up $50 for this account, right? And if I blow it up, I don't care, right? What I'm trying to do is relieve myself of the fear of the stop. Now, the downside to that can be, hey, I go all the way through, I qualify it, and I blow it up once it's funded. That's true. But if I keep my focus on what the entry is instead of the stop, and I keep my size down, so, meaning 1 or 2 contracts, I'll generally do fine. Now I'm going to give you an example of this, right? So one of the trades that I hate, let's pretend this orange dot wasn't at the bottom, and instead it was this dot here, and I have to take the long here. I hate this trade, right? Because it's so far away from the actual true stop, even though a 16-point stop usually keeps you in, right? So there's a situation where I go, okay, well, I'll just drop to 1 contract, and if I get stopped, I'm down $300. I'm fine, right? On the other hand, I love this trade, right? You get the dots down, orthodox stop, trap back in, but it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't extend. I mean, it gives you your 10, 15 points, and you got to take it out, right? The idea is you're still kind of grinding through your head. Well, what's really paying me and what's not paying me? And the reason for that is this. Eventually, you'll build size. So, let me slow down. You have to have one strategy for qualifying, one strategy for getting paid, right? And really, because of the way they structure Apex, the idea would be to build size and then increase your trade size as you increase your base and you get past the drawdown point once it's funded, right? But then the other thing goes, well, what do I actually want to see? So for me, the best trade out there looks something like this, where you get the dot up with the white dot, then they get below the body of that. That trade for me, and it's in the fourth channel, that trade for me is fantastic. Right now, does it work every time? No. Here's an example here's an example of a stop, here's an example of a paid, here's an example of a stop, right? So it's not always perfect, and it certainly helps when it comes along, and we already know there's a two-sided market, and all of that was in Globex, right? But then when I go back and look on, say, Friday afternoon, right, and I look and I go, okay, well, what were the trade setups that worked here, right? So what everyone leans back on when they go back and do their homework, hope that I'm speaking clearly here. So this is the long I took, right? I love this trade. I would take it every time. As long as it touches the fourth channel, I love that trade, right? But if you look at what naturally draws most people, like, hey, what's the trade that works best? It's the super trap, right? If you look, the super trap has a very, very high win rate, okay? Now, what makes a super trap even better, right, is if the right side of that super trap has dots in it. So here's a super trap. Excuse me. If you're trapping in on the left side and it has a dot, and on the right side, they both have dots on both left side and right side. And then you go lower from there, like see how the dot's only on the right side and not on the left side here. And then you get over here and you have dots on the left side and on the right side, and that gives you the bigger lift. If you focus on only that, and you go back through really any time frame that we cover in our trading, that trade repeats over and over again. So for me, the two things that I'm looking for, what does that break down to then, right? Super traps are what I'm looking for, preferably with a left dot on the side. The second thing I'm looking for is, if I don't have the apex trap, is the tweezer top, and I want the dots on the right hand side. So there's been some debate. Some people are asking me, well, is it on the right side, is it on the left side, yes or no? If there's dots on the right side and it's a super trap, my entry's on this bar, not the bar below. Like, I've had two people ask me that. My entry's on the bar with the dots on it. My study says that when I go back, that's the trade that works. That's the trade that works the absolute best. I'm gonna make sure I go back here real quick, far enough. Oops, sorry, forgot I'm on camera right now, so I moved my camera. Hold on a sec. There, that should take care of it. So as we go back, I obviously need to reset this to 3 days. This is not a tweezer's top for me, because so the reason why it's not a tweezer's top is I like it to look like this. Top has 2 bars down, comes back up, and sets like this. Now, someone asked me if there's a dot up with a white dot and it gets stuffed on a tweezer's top. Absolutely, right? I just prefer it on the down note instead of on the up note, but it works just fine, right? This is an example where there's a tweezer's top, a super trap, and there's no dot on the trap back in on the right hand side. So would I take that? Well, it's just not as good as if there would have been a dot on the first bar back in, right? And then of course location, so on and so forth. All those things matter, right? And then the last trade that I'm looking for is if I get a dot down. If I get a dot down like this, I get a bar with a pointing control above, I come back to backside test it. On this up bar, that's my long with a 1 bar stop right across there for the push out. And of course I prefer all of that to occur on the 4th channel. So I want to pause for members in the room. Is there a trade that I have not covered that anyone's confused about? Because that's what I'm looking for. And more importantly, I don't care about the extension that much on the Apex accounts, right? On my personal account, I certainly do, right? But on the Apex accounts, I don't, because it's still the same thing with the March to a million. So I want to remind everyone what it is. Average out at 300 a day. That means when you get 600 to 1,000, you're way up. You're way in front of the odds as the stats. And this is not as easy to do as it sounds. And the reason why it's not as easy to do as it sounds is because you always think, and I tweeted about this weekend, well, I can do more, right? You always think I can do more, but there's 2 things that are working against you in Apex for that. If you're funded, your biggest up day cannot be more than 30% greater than the average of your other trading days across 10 trading days. Your up day cannot be greater than the 30% above. The last entry, this one right over here, no, you're talking about the trap? No, it's this. it has to get the point of control above, Randy. So instead of taking the backside test, which can sweep you, I'm just looking for it to touch the point of control, and then after it touches the point of control, the first up bar. So I like it to close down into it, and then get the up bar for the push out. And I'll cover that with you in detail on our next coaching session, but it looks like this. See this? Even on this one, it comes back in. See how instead of taking it on the backside test, you take it on the up bar. And if the up bar has a dot on it, all the better. The top step and apex actually reward you for consistency, and they penalize you for inconsistency. Meaning, let's say you have 10 trading days, and 9 of those are $100 a piece, and then the last one is $2,000. They're not going to pay you out, right? They're going to make you put down 10 consistent days, where the biggest up day cannot be 30% greater than your average of the other 10, right? So in that thinking, right, there's two things going on. First of all, I've tried to deleverage the pressure. Again, it goes over 10 months, 4 days a week, an average of 300 days at over 20 accounts to get to the $1 million, right? Now, here's what I see going on in the room over and over, and I want to make sure I have time to cover this, and I do. I see people get to the point of the day where they're up 600, 700, 1,500, 2,000, doesn't matter what they are, and they go, I'm going to press now. And that press turns into a drawdown. And it's very vicious the way this works. You're up, let's say you're up 1,500, you take a trade, now you're up 900, right? Well, now you're mad that you drew down because you go, I knew I shouldn't have taken that trade for whatever reason. I need to get that money back, and then I'll stop. You take another trade. Now let's say you take it on half size, now you're up 600. Now you're really frustrated, right? Well, I'm going to get it back on the next trade. Boom. Now you're flat on the day. And that next thing you know, you're on tilt, right? Your best trades are usually your earliest trades, right? And if you would reserve that, I'm going to press now for, I'm going to press tomorrow or another day when I get the perfect setup, would be much better than I'm going to press into my third or fourth hour of trading on the day and then draw it down. That money will stack up. If someone threw down to you every morning and rang the doorbell and threw $500 at your feet every morning, there's not a person in this room that wouldn't be happy. $500 a day, 5 days a week, right? Now, I'm not ignoring that there's some days where you take the first trade and it's a down trade, right? But I would doubt that that would happen day after day after day if you took your best setup as your first trade, meaning A+, super trap, tweezers top, tweezers bottom, or the backside test with the bar down. Those would kind of be my three that I would go through. I'm sure I'm missing one or the other, right, in that process, okay? I doubt that that would occur. If you focused your trades on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday instead of Monday, Friday, and certainly on Monday, which is today, right, has the narrowest range, right? I can't tell you how many people I've seen burn themselves down on a Monday, and I know why. You've spent 3 days thinking about the trades you need to make on Monday, and then you come in and try super hard. Unfortunately, Monday is one of the narrowest range days of the week. It doesn't have to be that way. It just often is, right? So please organize in your mind what you're doing and how you're doing it. If you're trading two different strategies, as I am, one's in Apex, one's in my own account, one's in options, make sure you have nice lines of delineation on what you're doing from one to the other, because they're different, right? But there's not a person in this room who cannot execute this over and over, and there's not a person I talk to in this room, not one. There's not one person, maybe Ronnie, Ronnie's pretty consistent. I'm trying to think of who else, just Dylan probably, but there's not a lot of people that wouldn't come in and go, if you just started off the day and they gave you $500 for every day you've been in this room and you walked away and found something else to do, right? Every day, there's not many people that wouldn't go, yeah, that's fantastic, right? So I'm not saying that every trade is profitable. I'm not saying that every day is profitable. I am saying a lot of days are profitable, and if you can avoid melting down on the difficult days, the super huge gap ups, the super huge gap downs, and letting those days go and focus on I only need 10 months and 4 months out of the year, I'm pretty damn confident you're profitable, right? And it's not because I say so, it's because I see it, right? Like there's actually people I'm like, Yeah, this person's profitable. Yeah, that person's profitable, so on and so forth, right? Focus on the longs over the shorts. They're easier. We are underneath the 15-day moving average on the. Here's where the 15-day moving average is for NQ 24-hour. That's not right. Let's see. NQ 15-day, and it should be underneath this. There it is. So that's the 5-day moving average on the 15 minutes at 15,829. Okay, we should get a response out of that. This is it on the 24-hour. It is up here at 16,725. Shorts tend to work pretty nicely underneath that moving average. On the extensions down, as you can see, once we got underneath, see how the extensions down are just getting bigger and bigger to the downside. It does not mean it's any easier, it just means once you get a hold of an extension, it can extend down. But the longs work well on either side of that line, right? It's what changes is your shorts work better, and if you're a swing trader, you're going to get stopped if you try to push these trades underneath, because the extensions do come back down, right? The pattern has been push in the morning, short in the afternoon. That's not nothing miracle. Just go look at the chart. That's what the chart is telling you. If you look at the RTH, it's up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and it's been that way for a couple of days now. I'd say about the last 7 days. So we'll see what they do on the open, and then let the trade come to you. I'm preaching the same thing every day, right? I know it can be done, and if there's an area of frustration, just tell me and I'll attack it. Hold on 1 second. Chair. So at any rate, that's my 2 cents. I don't have much else to add. Oh, the locations of the trades have been very good, right? So this 16,580 is the next location up. We're obviously gapping up on a Monday where there's nothing there. We have 8th, excuse me. Bostic speaks at 11:30, and we have a bond auction at 10:30. That's it. Yep, sure can. I'm not on 3 days, I'm positive. Oh yeah, I am. Okay. Reload, recalculate. There we go. So I know I've got to at least get underneath this to go lower, and I have no idea why we're gapping up, but there we go. Great. And we'll go from there. Gap on ES. Oh, that's a 15-minute gap on NQ. And the green is obviously prior day's high and prior day's low that we're trading in between. And if that prints, that'll be orange dot up, orange dot down. Outside the channel, again, there's not a tremendous rush to trade right out of the gate, but we'll see. And we'll use that 5-minute balance area there to determine bias and direction. I show that 35 will be white dot, orange dot down. And the best would be to get an apex trap off of that. If they could form that and then come back up and give a super trap on it. You'd watch for the point of control. The one killer thing here would be as if it closed down and the point of control shifted underneath. That'd be a 1 bar stop. On the aggressive side for the short, because it's open drive higher, right? Like unquestionably open drive higher. There's the first 5 minutes, trying to close above. If that 60 prints, it would establish that buyers are in control above. Puts us. Don't sweat the open drive higher. Be my suggestion. It's actually the opposite of what we wanted for an opening trade, right? Which would have been a push down and a retest. Buyers have established control above. On NQ, pushes back down towards that 16,508, which is a pretty wide area. It's a wide balance to start. Should find responsive buyers. You need to close below 16,505. Orthodox close underneath that to get the sellers to grab control. And that would also push right into support. And then you have resistance sitting up there at 16,579.50, which was the high from Friday, up to 16,585. And the last thing is be careful of picturing super trades in your head that don't set up on the chart. I'm very guilty of this, right? I visioned it here. I was like, oh, they're just going to stall it right here, not allow it to orthodox close, and come back down here. And of course, right up into the 16,579.50, we sweep the entire range off the open and overnight from Friday, and we'll let them reset. Now, that's a whole lot better than coming in convinced that the market's going lower or higher and getting rolled over right out of the gate, is instead just following the process. And it's Monday, so if you're flustered already, which is easy to understand because we've just ripped the whole range, just go, it's Monday. I've got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's why the formula went 4 days, 10 months. You're going to have dots up, dots down outside the channel here, but again, within the context of open drive, higher on NQ. And then go to your 5-minute chart. You want to see a close below a 5-minute bar. We haven't had that since Friday. Oh, well, this is our RTH. We haven't had that since 756. You have to close underneath that 16,540. All right, otherwise we're one timing within range. Pretty interesting roll out of ES and into NQ, huh? Tweezer's top there, potentially. person speaking. Give me just a second, guys. And backside test into prior day's high. That's as open drive high as it gets, guys. Whether that's exhaustive or not, I don't know. It's as open drive high as it gets, all the way to the other side of the range. So. I'm not sure anyone was looking for open drive higher. Look how ES rolls down, or rolls down is a strong term, but NQ doesn't budge. That's usually program trading, just FYI. Like a specific roll out of ES into NQ kind of trade. But either way, one thing we do know is it's not our trading style, right? And that's okay too. So odd. There's a super trap. I mean tweezer's top. If you get a dot down on the right side, that would be what you're looking for the short above prior day's high again. So just keep that in mind. And 5 minutes to go in this period. 3 minutes till the top of the hour. And I think since I don't understand what's going on here or why we're driving, does anyone have anything? Did I miss something this morning? Because that's a pretty crazy open for a Monday morning. There's no econ, just drive straight up. Like, wow. Give me just a second. Okay, so guys, all we're going to do is sit here and just wait for our process to kick in, right? That's it. That's right up into resistance. 16,653 is next. But there's no way for us to get our A plus trades up here, right? Like, it had to be something exceptional in here for us to get that, right? We don't have that right now. So, to me, I go, well, that sucks. But it does it. Like, there's no short signal, right? And you just kind of go, okay, it's Monday. I've got 4 other days to make this work, right? This is exactly why that 4 day a week thing was built in, because I can promise you there's all these people sitting here going, including me, how am I going to make money today? And the answer is, it doesn't matter. Push back up. Potential tweezers top into resistance. Here we want to see a down bar with a algo inside of it. If you've got to be the most aggressive shorter on the face of the earth to want to short this straight up, right? So if you're struggling with it, and I am a little bit, right? Write down your feelings about it so that you can journal. I think it sucks to open up on a Monday and drive up 180 points with no counter rotation and no opportunity to get in, right? I really do. But it's all right. We've been through a bunch of these, and we'll get our shot. We may not get our shot today. What if it does this all day long? There's literally not a rule that says it can't do that, right? There's not a rule that says it can't keep going up. So let it keep going up. Let's see where we are relative to that. $16,726 is where the 5-day moving average is. And if you look at this chart, right, this is a 15-minute. Go to your 5-minute and go, can I close underneath a 5-minute bar? Like that would be the start of, oh, I've got a two-way trading system going, right? A whole lot better than I'm just going to stand in front of the freight train, let them take me out, blow up my day and blow up my week, right? That's what we want to accomplish, is taking the trades on process when it gives us to us. That's interesting. My internet jumped. Hey, Dylan, are you in the room, buddy? Can you check to make sure you have an M up here like this in the upper left-hand corner of your charts for me, please? Okay, good. Then you're. I was just worried that you weren't on the correct data feed. You're good. Well, this is a bang up start to a Monday. This is going to be a very big push down. If that bar holds, it would print at 29.75. There's nothing else to go off. It's a tweez. It's a super trap, but someone's pushing very hard on that bar. It would be a super trap right over here, but man, and straight up like that. So it would be a trap back in. And your target would be 16,585 for a retest of Friday's high. If you're willing to be, that's super aggressive trade. Mic check 1, 2. check, 1, 2. The right one. It is. Okay, and we'll see what happens. Should pull back from here. I mean, pull back towards that 16,585. 16,600, something in that neighborhood. Should. Doesn't mean it will. And then we'll have IB high and IB low set up coming up as well. That's as no rotation trend day up as you get. Up for a potential tweezers top or another super trap. That's usually a great super trap. There's just no rotation in it. And this is the guy you got to beat right here still. This is your last buyer that's going to be stuck, if anyone's going to be stuck. 10 minutes till the bottom of the hour, end of the first hour of trading. We'll have IB high and IB low. Obviously IB high is the one that's more likely to get tested. And if ES catches up, this market has a long way to go. What a rotation. Tweezer's top there, by the way, so dots down into that 16,630 would be valid. There's your tweezer's top, no doubt on the right hand side, what I can tell. And guys on YouTube, I think I'm going to cut it off. There's just nothing to show y'all here. It's open drive higher. Buyers in control. So if I have something, I'll post it later today, but there's no point in sitting here. If we start to rotate, we'll start to make some money. If we don't, we'll just sit here. And I appreciate y'all joining. I'll do a trade review later.